Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
The place is here and the time is now. Let's take it round for round. And people gather round. Let's see who can win the crown. All the marbles involved. Football, baseball, or golf. Who's dominating the hoops? Who's talking false or the truth? Yeah, come and show me your war face. I'll show you my war face. No holds barred, so for your sake, you better show up in good shape. Valuable information is key to your domination. So focus on preparation. Online is your reputation. Yeah, it's one-on-one. You and me, ain't no fear in me. You will see. When it comes to this, you'll be wearing the number 23. In debate, I hold my weight, cause these sports I'm attached to it. Your legacy, get ready, cause I'm gonna set a match to it. Hey. Burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, episode 71 of Legacy on Fire here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and of course, Aaron on the amazing Bowie Television. We are so glad to be here with you all today, episode 71 of Legacy on Fire today, as we got some fun topics to get into today. A lot of NBA stuff to talk about, got a little NFL, and we'll talk about an amazing legend who is unfortunately no longer with us. But before we get into all of that, let's introduce the panel. Of course, to the bottom of me here, Mr. James Brown. James, how you doing today, sir?
Doing good, man. See, we got Jay, we got Larry in the building. It's been a minute. Glad to have you boys back on. Can't wait to get into it with y'all today.
Then to my right, we've got the co-founder of the Legacy Maker Sports Network, Mr. Jeremiah Quimby. How you doing today, sir?
I'm well. It's great to see everybody again.
Look at your smiling face out there. Loving the well, I ain't gonna talk about that now. We'll talk about the show. A little bit of here, a little bit of there.
Are you talking about all the hair that's I'm a grandpa?
See, I'm glad you said it because I wanted you to say it before me. Yeah, Grandpa, congratulations.
That still hasn't been announced yet.
Oh, okay. We kind of spilled that. With that being said, below Jay, we've got the man from the Gametime Sports Network, and you can see him on the Rob Johnson Sports Show on Sundays, Mr. Larry Patterson. How you doing today, sir?
What's going on, Legacy Makers? Glad to be here. Episode 71. Ready to get it cracking, man.
Well, look, hey, let's go ahead and get that bad boy started, and let's go ahead and start off with one sentence. Well, they said they couldn't do it, including myself. I know Lamont was a person that said, nah, bro, I don't trust him. And when we get him back on here, I'm pretty sure he probably will still say the same thing, but we can't say but so much. The Boston Celtics, ladies and gentlemen, are the 2024 NBA champions. It has happened. They found a way to do it, and they did it in pretty convincing fashion throughout that series. So we'll start off with one sentence. Jay, we'll start off with you first, sir. Give me your one sentence on the Boston Celtics winning the NBA championship.
Wow. I mean, just wow. And I mean, kudos to Brown. Wow and kudos. That's it.
That's all they got. I mean, look, he played so well. He played so well throughout that series. That's all you can really say was just wow. And yes, he looked amazing.
Finally became the guy that they all needed him to be for the last, 4 years? 5 years.
And I mean, they gave him the money, and he showed up and showed out. Larry, we head to you next, sir. What is your one sentence on the Boston Celtics winning the NBA championship?
Finally, they got it done. As you said, they gave Jaylen Brown that money, and he came through. He played extraordinarily well through this final series. He deserves to be the finals MVP. We look forward to next year. We don't have any major free agents on the loose, so it should be a very strong year for these guys next year as well.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. I mean, they're kind of loaded up right now. The Porzingis, Horford said he's going to make a return back, so they should be in place to try to make another run at it. James, what's your one sentence on the Boston Celtics winning the NBA championship?
My one sentence is going to be silencing the critics. Boston, finally was able to get it done. I know I was one of those individuals who, thought they just didn't have enough, who thought, Tatum wasn't ready, who thought Brown wasn't ready, who thought you might even possibly need to split them up, especially once it comes contract time for both of them. But, they got their one now. They're in prime position to compete again next year, as the East is pretty much still the weaker conference of the two. So they'll be right in the thick of things again next year to see if they can double up and go back to back.
Hey, and you say it's a good point that you bring with the East being a weaker conference, but do you feel like, and now this is for everybody, do you feel like around the board there, because the West was such a slugfest, that it kind of made it maybe a smidge easier for the Celtics to go out there and win that championship?
Well, I'd say, the Western Conference definitely beat up on itself all season long. Like, we've seen that kind of year in and year out, where a lot of those teams like wear each other out. And we saw it this year for the Celtics. I mean, it was pretty much a cakewalk for them. They had a few challenges here and there, but for the most part, they kind of breezed through it. And I think that rest showed itself in the finals, because those guys balled out, man.
They did. Jay, what about you, brother?
Where did Kyrie go? They made him angry, and somebody bought him a globe and left in his locker because he went
insane.
off in the championship, but not in the finals. In the finals, he was just like, okay, everybody believes this. I mean, there was no fire patching.
Larry, what about you, brother?
Yeah, I'm with Jay. Kyrie showed up was game 3, and that was pretty much it. And it's like Luka had really no Robin to his Batman. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But that West is definitely looking serious next year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Very, very interesting. And before we move to the next topic, we did see that Alex Caruso got traded today to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Josh Giddey. James, I know you're a Chicago fan. Thoughts on that before we move on?
Man, I honestly don't know. The Bulls don't know where they're going at this point. Getting Giddey would make me believe they're going in a younger direction. I mean, he's only 22. That would pair well with your younger core of Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Patrick Williams, if you bring him back, Julian Phillips. But who knows? It's wait and see.
Who knows?
You have to think DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine could be on the move too as well, right?
You have to move LaVine at this point. DeMar, depending on the money, you may bring him back to be like the vet for this group, but LaVine's got to go at this point. You just traded your most tradable piece in Caruso. Still waiting to see if we got just Giddey straight up, or is there picks or something along with it? Because, the Thunder have a war chest of draft picks here. I would hope we got something.
I mean, a 2-time all defensive player.
Something other than just Josh Giddey. So it's like, or maybe this is part of a bigger scheme to then offload Zach LaVine or something. I don't know.
Hopefully.
Gotta wait and see.
We'll see what Chicago have with their sleeve. Let's head to the West Coast to talk about the Boston Celtics bitter rival. The Celtics now with their 18th championship, they just couldn't let the Lakers stay tied with them. They had to go out there and win number 18. And so the Lakers have decided to hire JJ Redick, the Virginia born athlete, former, if I'm not mistaken, former Virginia High School Player of the Year, did his thing at Duke. And now he is the head coach of the LA Lakers. I'm hearing comparisons to Pat Riley. We'll see. But yeah. Larry, I saw that face, and we definitely have been getting those. I've been definitely hearing those comparisons, but we shall see. But with that being said, Larry, I'll start with you first. What is your one sentence on the Lakers hiring JJ Redick as their head coach?
Man, if this doesn't work out, you can cancel LeBron and JJ Redick's podcast, and I'm pretty sure their friendship, and he'll probably be gone, like you said earlier, in about 2 years. So
that's great. Wait a minute. Now, maybe I should know this. They have a podcast together? Boy, what? I had no clue LeBron and JJ had a podcast together. That's gonna make for a tough podcast down the road where things are not going well. And be like, yo, coach, so yeah. Jay, we head to you next, brother. What is your one sentence on the Lakers hiring JJ Redick as their head coach?
2 years. It's just until they find the next person they can throw a whole bunch of money at for no talent.
James, we head to you on your one sentence, man. What do you got on this one for the Lakers and their? Oh, that's me. Hold on, wait a minute. That's not James. There we go. James.
I was gonna be like, James, where'd your hair go?
James' head got bigger. This is crazy. So James, what is your one sentence on JJ Redick being the new head coach of the LA Lakers?
LeBron gets his wish, a 2-year plan until they blow it up again. We all know the story. I mean, LeBron picked the coach he wanted in JJ Redick. The Lakers pretty much were backed into picking him because no one else wanted their offer. Dan Hurley turned him down to go back to UConn. Monty Williams, who was just fired in Detroit, previously turned him down the season before. So I doubt, they wanted him back at this point. But, it's a temporary Band-Aid to fix a gaping problem. The roster is a bigger issue more so than the coaching. And I don't know if JJ can develop young talent. I don't know if he can mend Anthony Davis's hamstring back, whatever it is going to ail him this upcoming season. And he for damn sure doesn't have a time machine to send LeBron James back 5 to 10 years to, the peak of his powers. So, we'll see. It might be worth a watch.
Yeah. My one thing about all of it is when you see Redick and they give him the Pat Riley, like, well, at least I heard the Pat Riley thing. And they're just saying this because his man hair is slicked back. I think that's insane. That's my personal opinion. We have not seen JJ Redick coach at all. So you compare him to Pat Riley off the bat you must know something that nobody else knows. And so that'll be very interesting to see.
Or you're smoking something nobody else has.
Right. It'll be interesting to see. On the next one, we got some sad news on this one. A couple of days ago, it's been 2 days now since the legendary Willie Mays passed away at the age of 93, the Pro Baseball Hall of Famer and the Giants legend. Fellas, this one's a little tough because, when we were younger, I mean, Willie probably was what? And maybe in his 60s, maybe like late 50s. And we've seen him at all the great all-star games, giving love to Barry Bonds, all that good stuff. So and during that time frame and just showing, being the legend that he is, he's been old enough that he played in the league or leagues. So that tells you just how long this man's career and how much of a legend he has been. James, I'll start with you first. What's your one sentence on Willie Mays passing away?
Rest in peace to a certified immortal living legend. Like you said, Willie Mays was all-star baseball, all-time baseball player, a guy who came from the Negro Leagues, playing with the Birmingham Barons, making it to New York to play with the then New York Giants, who then moved out to San Francisco, and then ultimately finishing up with the New York Mets. His career, his legacy was well cemented way before I was born. I actually had to go back, research, and actually, look into the career he had in his playing days. And, like I said, one of the greatest to do it, apparently. First to 300 home runs. I think it was the first to 600 home runs as well. Actually won a World Series, I think back in '54 with the Giants. And arguably, some say he had the greatest catch ever in baseball in one of those games. RIP to a legend.
Yeah, when you get the catch named, and whenever you see everybody else do it now, and everybody says, look, he's having his Willie Mays moment, that's when you cemented something amazing. Jay, we head to you, man, and I know how much you love baseball.
The closest person that ever come to that can catch was, remember, Jim Edmonds with the Cardinals?
Yeah, Jim Edmonds back in the day making that bad boy happen.
Well, the thing, Willie was very much a steward of the game and the changing of the way it was going to be played. But the big thing for me that really sucks is he didn't get to see his godson get what he deserves being inducted into the Hall of Fame with Barry Bonds not being there. I mean, yes, we all know everybody did steroids and drugs and hit it farther, but that was the era of baseball. They need to accept it. Just like, gambling's okay now, but Pete Rose is still who? They just need to allow some things to be. History's history. You cannot erase it. You need to learn from it.
Yeah, I'm still kind of intrigued. I just feel like that's one of those things they're gonna wait till these people pass away and they be like, we're gonna let them in now. Like, that's insane work. Let that person get their flowers while they're here.
Drugs save baseball.
They did.
Just like
they
did the 2008 World U.S. economy.
when and you're right, that there was the 96, 97 years, especially the McGuire Sosa year when they went out there and just tore it up for the summer. I mean, if without that, baseball, who knows what type of baseball, because they had just came off the strike and they needed that boost a year.
It'd be right behind hockey right now on the most. It'd be maybe like the Live Golf Tour.
Oh boy, Larry, we head to you. What is your one sentence on this situation on the passing of Willie Mays?
This is probably one of the one times I wish I could, actually see him play. Because when you think about the catch and his base running and his fielding, he had 12 gold gloves, and he was a 24-time All-Star. So when you think about things like the catch and all that other stuff, man, it's like it just makes you just go back and just like, man, I wish I was there to see him play instead of just seeing these highlights. But unfortunately, neither of us was around at that time. Even in his last year, like he made the All-Star team.
That's crazy. 24 times.
But yeah, man, rest in peace to a legend.
Man, 24-time All-Star. I don't think I've ever heard that said for anybody. And so a 24-time All-Star is insane. I think the most I may have ever heard is like 15, 16. 24? 24? It's absolutely amazing. So rest in peace to the amazing Willie Mays, man. Thank you for all the great memories and making baseball cool. Now let's head to the fire starter. All right, so we head to the fire starters, and we got a chance here with the NBA, the way things have been going. You kind of want to know. I know we had this question a couple of months ago, but things have changed a little bit since that time frame. And I just, just as a current update, want to know who you guys think is the current face of the NBA. Now that we've seen the playoffs, now that we've seen who's won the championship and all that good stuff, just who do you guys think is the current face of the NBA? Larry, I'll start with you first. Who do you have as the current face of the NBA?
I got a different answer to this. I think it's several players that can be the face of the NBA. First of all, you can't count out Anthony Edwards and his performance over the postseason, his performance over the season, and then go to the postseason. Just his way of playing the game. You can't say that he's not the face of the NBA after that. Shai Gilgeous as well. That's when you talk about the young guys, but like the vets too. You got guys like Wardell Curry and LeBron James as well. Like I think that they're still faces of the NBA, even though they're at the ends of their career. But you're still looking at guys like that still playing at a high level. They still faces of the NBA as well. But go with Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, young guys like that.
I like. James, we head to you. Who do you have as the face of the NBA currently?
I would say, Larry kind of hit it for me. My current face in the NBA has got to be Anthony Edwards, man. We just saw he had the playoff run this year where, he had those electrifying moments, dunking on KD, several different guys in the playoffs, getting the Minnesota Timberwolves to the Western Conference Finals. Unfortunately coming up short against the Mavericks, but, he's kind of emerged at this point. He's got the fire sneaker contract with Adidas. And even after his playoff stretch, he put out that commercial with Adidas where, he's keeping receipts of everybody that, came at him sideways, said that he wasn't going to be good, wasn't going to make it, is not going to win in the league. And so, I feel like he picked up the bag where Ja Morant fumbled it. And, he's running with it at this point. So I'm excited to see where he goes with it.
Man, Ja Morant, I almost forgot he was in the league. I know that sounds crazy out loud, but it's been between the injury and the suspension. I almost forgot he was in the league and how great Ja Morant was. And, that's something that'll be very interesting at the beginning of the next season to see if he can bounce back and be the great player and get his mind on the right track as we head into the 2024-2025 season. Jay, we head to you, man. Who do you have as the current face of the NBA?
Right now, Joker. Jokic is just always, he's been a factor for the last, we'll say 5 years, give or take. So to put a new face on it, it would be him for me, him or Donnet. But it's scary because have you guys heard talk of this new European league they're talking about having?
No, I haven't heard anything on the European League.
There's a European league that they're working on developing that could be kind of like the Live Golf Tour for the PGA, but it'd be for the NBA. So all the European players would be going back over there and getting the caps would be much higher, like what it is with the golf. So imagine, you look at the NBA draft this year, that like 2 of the top 5 prospects I have are from France. So. Yeah, I mean that
and half of them you never heard of. Like I was like, the NBA draft ain't what it used to be. I don't be knowing who. I have no clue who's in the draft. I have no clue who's in the draft at all. I mean, you could tell me right now that Larry's in the draft. I'm like, Larry, for real? I ain't know, bro.
But you hear some of the teams they play for, and you're like, I've never heard of this team.
It's like it'd be like Juventus.
If it wasn't for Google, we'd be like, huh?
Yeah, it'd be like Juventus of Spain or something like really like the soccer team has a basketball team too. That's
FC
one thing I didn't.
Barcelona.
Yeah, I didn't realize that a lot
Real
of the soccer
Madrid.
clubs had basketball clubs. I was like, wait a minute, ain't that a soccer squad or excuse me, football squad? Let me not get beat up. So it kind of threw me off at one point when I first saw it. I was like, yeah, that something ain't right. It's something just ain't right.
It was basketball. Be just as live as the soccer games.
Oh,
it's that crowd energy.
Right. Right. Yeah, if you've never been at a live soccer matchup, I'm telling you right now, on TV it's like, oh, what is this? And in person, she different. It is loud. It is energetic, and they sing the entire time. Oh, whatever it is, whatever the chant is, it's the entire 90 minutes.
That's the go-to for Darrell because he doesn't remember a couple of them because they were in Spanish.
I don't have no clue. I was there with one a couple years ago, back in like 17, and I remember the whole time it was just energetic. And then as soon as they scored, I was waiting. I said, man, when they score, let's go. They're gonna go nuts because that's how the energy was. And then when they scored, and everybody went crazy for like a hot period of time. So yeah, it's definitely different in person. Like it's a whole nother monster. On the next one for our fire starters, let's head to this question, which I think is a very intriguing one because it's been a long week when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers, or let me say a couple months when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers and Brandon Ayuk. I don't know what's going on. Like early this week, we saw Ayuk FaceTiming with his boy Jaden Daniels of the Commanders. And he was like, they don't want me, bro. Like it's like, oh, is that what's happening now? So I don't know how they repair this, but I wanted to get this from you guys, kind of get an idea of where you stand on this. James, I'll start with you first. What do the 49ers do with Brandon Ayuk?
At this point, I think you just got to play it out and see. Clearly, they've offered him some contract extensions. He doesn't like what the number is at. They gave him permission to seek a trade. Apparently, they didn't like what they were getting back as far as trade offers. Because you got to think, too, whatever team trades for him, not only do you have to trade for him, you have to sign him to a new contract. And so we don't know where he's looking at. But if we're looking at the money that a lot of these newer receivers are getting, we're in the ballpark of 27, 28, 29 mil per year. I don't think he's in Justin Jefferson territory of getting, 30 plus million a year. But if you're the 49ers, you got a lot coming down the pike that you have to, potentially get ready to pay for. Brock Purdy's deal is going to be coming up soon. You might have to do something with Trent Williams again. You just had to re-sign Christian McCaffrey, up his deal a little bit. Debo's already been paid. So, if you're San Fran, you got to play this thing out kind of smart. If you can get some valuable assets for him, go ahead and trade him. But more than likely, they'll just have to play it out. He'll walk in the offseason. Yeah,
I really can't see. Personally, I can't see him being there for too much longer. They drafted receiver, I think, twice in the draft.
They took 2 of them.
Yeah, they took 2 receivers, including with their first pick. So I can't see it being too long before they make that move. Before I go to the next person, a long time no see on this one. TC in the building. Hey TC, I hope all is well, brother. It's been a long time. He said, "Dragon brothers, drag them." And then he says, "How about the Celtics, Quincy and Darrell Owens?" So I look. Here's the thing. Congratulations to the Celtics.
I'm guessing that's Quimby.
I think it's Quimby. But yeah, man, congratulations to the Celtics. I know you're a very happy man right there. That's a true Boston sports fan.
You know, the last time we talked to him, that Tom Brady was still playing.
Yeah, Tom Brady was still playing with the Patriots.
Thanks for that rental, bro.
And now, right, and now he's a Hall of Famer, a Patriots Hall of Famer, and at some point, a future Pro Football Hall of Famer. And now he's doing things in the booth. I saw him in the UFL game a couple weeks ago trying to do his thing. It was actually pretty good. I'm like, okay, Tom, I see you. Jay, we head to you on this one. What should the 49ers do with Brandon Ayuk?
Find a trade partner. I mean, you figure what he's capable of doing in whatever system you put him in. If you think he's worth a first rounder, you get a first rounder. Don't let people walk because they think they deserve top end, even though they can't play, 16, 17 games out of the year.
Yeah, the one thing that I saw, him having that conversation with Jaden, obviously the first thing that came to mind was like, well, how could he fit with the Commanders? Because obviously they were college teammates and they look really close friends. And I'm like, and then you started to connect the dots, Adam Peters, former 49ers assistant GM, could that be something that kind of gets into the works down the road? Who knows? But if I just throw this out there before I go to Larry, if they're thinking about this, don't you dare trade Terry. You got to trade Dotson, and you have Ayuk, and you have Ayuk and Terry together. That could be dangerous, but I still have hope for Dotson. But with that being said, we head down to Larry. Larry, what should the 49ers do with Brandon Ayuk?
At this point, Jay and James made good points. I think that they may work something out. It's dragging right now. But at the same time, the 49ers drafted a wide receiver at the back end of the first round, Ricky Purcell out of Florida. That said something. I don't know what that says, but it says something, and it ain't good. So you're having this long of a period of negotiations. Clearly, he deserves it. The last 2 years, he's receiving over 1,000 yards. Was it 1,300 yards last year? 7 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns a year before. No Pro Bowls. That's amazing. That's shocking. But what I think that they should do, and I don't know if the Chargers have the money, but you need a wide receiver. He's coming from a run first system anyway, and the Chargers I think is going to be switched to a run first with Harbaugh coming over there anyway. So I think if there is a trade candidate, I think he goes there. But I also think that somewhere along the line they may work this thing out, but it's not looking good.
It'll be interesting to see if they end up working it out. We saw T. Higgins, suck it up and decide to sign, that franchise tag. I still don't. I don't see. He obviously won't be there after this year unless they find a way to change him. I mean, you got to look at the fact. I don't know if they paid Chase yet, but if they haven't, I can't see them keeping both. And I don't see them keeping Higgins over Chase, especially with Chase and Burrow having the connection they have. There's no way I can see that happening. You got to keep those two together as long as you possibly can.
I mean, Cincinnati is going to keep Chase over Higgins. They haven't signed him yet, but he's going to be the long-term option there. I feel what helps, Higgins' case is he knows, like, after this season, he's going to be up. He's going to be a free agent. He's going to go somewhere and get paid. Whereas for Ayuk, technically the 49ers could go ahead and slap him with the franchise tag and, try to wait it out again to see if somebody will, give him what they want in a trade package, and he'll be forced to kind of play it out again next year. But two, you got to think, if you're the 49ers and you do give him a new deal, Debo is going to be looking, well, wait a minute, you paying this guy, you paying him more than me, but, I'm supposed to be the guy, or, y'all told me I was the guy. So, there could be some things on that roster that, could, boil over some tensions.
Yeah, it's been a little weird because you got to think about it. Debo just did this a year or so ago, where he was like, "I want to be traded, get me out of here," and then he ends up staying. And then Ayuk is doing the exact same thing, just taken out of the playbook. That's been a receiver thing. I mean, there's been other players, but I feel like receivers have been highlighted when it comes to this type of thing. The AJ Browns and who else am I missing? There's been a couple. Oh shoot, but it's been a couple of receivers. But AJ Brown's the other one that came to come to mind, where they just couldn't figure things out on the receiver front. And it's hard because there's so many good receivers now.
How scary would it be if the Chiefs made a trade for Ayuk?
If you're,
I'm just saying,
don't do Larry like that.
If they could fit that under the cap, that'd be a good trade. That'd be a good trade for Kansas City.
Larry blood pressure don't need to rise for no reason. Look, you see Larry over there in trouble. Why would you do that, Jay? That's unfortunate, man. Like Larry's struggling.
You remember that time when I said that the Chiefs would trade up for Patrick Mahomes?
That
hit me just about the same way as that.
I'm not gonna let Larry listen to any more of this because he's about to cry. We're gonna head over to the main flame. Heading to the main flame, and this time around, we're finishing off with a finishing off with an NFL topic, because the last couple of weeks we've been talking NBA finals and kind of going into all that good stuff. So it's been a little bit of a rough go from there. So now this time we're going to go ahead and talk about we'll talk about some NFL play and what can happen over here in the next couple of months when this NFL season starts. So I can't wait to hear what you guys have and who's going to be that surprise team in the AFC. You get one in the AFC and you get one in the NFC. So you'll get two opportunities here to give me those surprise teams on both sides of the spectrum. Does anybody want to go first? Usually I know I go pick with. Does anybody want to go first before everybody's looking like, I don't know.
I'll go. But
James say he'll go. All right, James.
Surprise, like they're gonna be surprisingly good or like surprisingly bad?
No, surprisingly good. Surprisingly good.
Okay. Let's see. AFC. Who do I think is gonna be surprisingly good? I'm gonna go with the Indianapolis Colts. I know last year they drafted Anthony Richardson. He looked good before he had the shoulder injury. But we saw, even with Gardner Minshew, Shane Steichen was able to still coach this team to be in chance of winning the division and making the playoffs in year one. So, this year, Richardson comes back. He's healthy. He's had that time to kind of sit and learn from the bench, add that to the experience he had from the few weeks he played last year. If Steichen can get him to kind of understand, hey, look, we need you for the long haul stretch. You saw how last year you tried to take the body blows, you tried to dish out the punishment, and it sidelined you. We need you to understand that, hey, look, get the yards you can't, get down and get out of bounds. If Richardson's able to do that, we saw that, he can lead this offense for the Colts. So I'll take the Colts as my surprise team in the AFC. NFC-wise, let's see. Surprisingly enough, I think the Giants might be a little bit better than what we're anticipating on the NFC side.
Bullshit.
Again, because, there's so much on the line for them. Daboll is possibly coaching for his job. Daniel Jones is definitely playing for his job. And so there's so much on the line for the organization where they need to really prove some things in this upcoming season. Prove that, Daboll's first year as coach wasn't a fluke when they made the playoffs. Right. And so, adding a Malik Neighbors, hopefully Daniel Jones stays healthy. Maybe they can make some magic happen, but I wouldn't be surprised at it. So I'd say look out for the Giants.
I know a couple of Giants.
You can't overlook them for sure. I'll definitely say that.
That would be very happy if that is the case. Larry, we head to you, man. Who is your surprise on the AFC and the NFC?
Man, the NFC, James took my pick.
Really? Y'all are both picking the Giants? Oh, this is crazy work. Oh, man.
So I think with the strength of the Giants team this year will be their defense. You add Brian Burns, a pass rusher, and then you still have Dexter Lawrence over there on the line, Bobby Okereke and Kayvon Thibodeau. I just think the defensive line is going to be a very big strength on that team. As far as you add John on the offensive line, which should be a strength. And I mean, you got Malik Neighbors. So I mean, James pretty much touched on everything, but that's my team. Daniel Jones, like he said, Daniel Jones playing for his job. Brian Daboll is coaching for his job. So the Giants in the NFC for me, in the AFC, I'm going with the Tennessee Titans.
Dang it, he took my pick. God,
Thank
Larry, no. Okay, go ahead, continue.
Will Levis showed some things last year, not enough, but going into his second year, he's got another year of learning. You get a new head coach coming over from the Cincinnati Bengals, so he's got some postseason experience over there. You add Tajay Spears, I think is going to be a very good player in this league. And then don't forget about the receivers. You still got D-Hop over there. You add Calvin Ridley, and then you add Tyler Boyd. Treylon Burks has another year of learning, and then Chig Okonkwo, he's coming up as one of the better tight ends in the league. Don't forget about the defensive side of the ball. You add Darius Sneed, Chidobe Awuzie, Kenneth Murray at the linebacker position. Don't forget Jeffrey Simmons on the defensive line, and then you add T'Vondre Sweat, the nose tackle out of Texas, and I feel like he's going to be a monster in the
Man, he took mine. I will say I was kind of leading to Tennessee for that same reason. And I also was looking at the fact that division is not like sexy. So, I mean, yes, the Colts did their thing. Jacksonville took a step back last year. So we really don't know, even after Trevor got paid, we don't know what that's going to look like. And then the only team that, at least on paper, that should blow this division by, or at least should win the division, is the Texans. But we also have seen in past where you think, oh, that team comes out and look hot, and they fall apart. New pieces, new shiny toys, and it just doesn't work. But I agree with you with Tennessee. It's going to be a brand new day there. And also those young coaches, the young coaches that changed the way of things that were in Tennessee. Tony Pollard being there is a really big thing. Even though he didn't get the touchdowns like he did in the years past with Dallas, I feel like that's a really big pick for them. Then they went and got J.C. Latham in the draft, and you get somebody who can help anchor that offensive line for the next 10 to 15 years and protect Levis. That's why I said, like, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but they would.
Right.
They would not surprise me. They would not surprise me. On the NFC side, I could easily say the Commanders because I'm always up there, but I won't do that. But Jay might not like this, but I'm going. Carolina. I don't, and it's all because of the
Smoking
coach.
dope.
Yeah, well, it's all because of the coach that Jay used to have on his team down there. And
Liam basically resurrected Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield,
right,
with what he's got, and that's what they're hoping they can do with the small little J-size man they drafted.
Yeah, so I just think that in that division, I looked at that division was a big part for what I'm thinking here. We don't know what the Saints are going to be. We really don't.
Shit.
I think the Bucs should be the team based on at least on paper purposes. It should.
What did my wife say about you talking about?
I'm just saying, man. Like, look, on paper, and then the Falcons. If Kurt is rolling, we'll see. But we have to see. We got to see if he can bounce back from that injury. And with the young gun, that's why I go with Carolina. And like I said, it's a good surprise. It's a good surprise. But Jay, we head to you. NFC and AFC.
My NFC was actually the Packers.
I'll take that
because they didn't do great. Yes, they made playoffs, whatever. But switching back to the 4-3, that is good to run up there. I think will help exponentially. And Aaron Jones, I'm not saying he was a bad running back, but getting Jacobs, I believe, is an upgrade for this system. And I believe he'll put up some numbers this year as long as he doesn't get too cold. But I love what the Packers have done, 100%.
What about the AFC side? Who you got on the AFC side?
Bengals. It's got to be the Bengals because I was going to go Tennessee looked great. I love all the weapons they've got and all the stuff they've done. But for me, it's the Bengals. You get Joe Burrow healthy, and get what he's done. 4,400 yard seasons, 35 touchdowns. If you get him back along with the defense that's already stout, I mean, yes, that I picked a division where every one of those teams could go off, but I really think Joe Burrow is the real deal.
Yeah,
he paid all the bucks.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's kind of hard, like when you go and look at some of these divisions are going to be dogfights. The AFC North dogfight. The NFC the NFC South is one of those ones it's still kind of up in the air. The AFC South is kind of up in the air. The West is Kansas City and who steps up. Like who will step up and maybe be that second team in there unless Kansas City falls. But every time we think Kansas City gonna fall, they start figuring out ways to win Super Bowls again. It's crazy. So it'll be interesting just throughout. The AFC, the NFC West, you'll see teams like the Cardinals with Kyler back, and then the Rams. To me, that's another team I probably should have thrown in there as a surprise. Even though they made the playoffs, the Rams have done a really good job of retooling a team. After, remember, we don't need no F them draft picks shirt that my man Les Snead had at the Super Bowl parade, and they didn't have a first round pick since 2016.
Yeah,
they traded golf. They did all this stuff. And I know I said it. I know Jay has said it. We've all talked about it where it's like, yo, they stupid. But they have done a really good job of drafting, late round picks and third and fourth round picks that have done a good job. I got a chance to interview Steve Avila, who was one of their offensive linemen. And he came in and had big moments for them last year. They had Kobe Turner, who came from Richmond via was it Wake Forest or either Georgia Tech? I can't remember which one it was. I can't remember. Wake Forest. So like and he comes in and is almost the rookie of the year. Was he not rookie of the year last year defensively? Or am I wrong on that? Who was our rookie defensive player of the year last year?
I don't think he got him. I think he was a finalist.
It was Anderson, but he was a finalist. So you look what they've done. Cornell Lake is another one. Not Cornell Lake. Quinn Lake. Quinn Lake is another one. They've just been able to find pieces and keep growing. That's probably who I should have picked now that I think about it. But I really like that Rams team to make some noise. I really do, y'all.
And they signed Tre'Davious White.
Yes.
Now I know he's been going through injuries for the past couple seasons or whatever, but if he can be a shell of his old self, remember he was pretty much a shutdown corner a couple years ago. So it's signings like that if he can really make it out, like this, the Rams are really good. Sean McVay does a real good job of drafting every year.
Yeah, you get Puka Nacua, he comes out and be who he is, and then you still got Cooper Kupp. They're still all in that mix, and that's what I say. Like, it's such a great job that they've done there. So Les Snead, I got to give him his flowers. And then they pick up Jared Verse and Jay last year at ACC Media Day. We got a chance to talk to Verse then.
I was so mad. I wanted him in Tampa,
and I'm sitting there like, wow, they just know what they're doing. They just know what they're doing.
And after talking to Jared Verse, you kind of get an idea of they want people that are moldable and coachable still.
Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. Of course, as the weeks come along here, we'll be doing our division predictions on here. So be ready for those here in the next couple of weeks. But it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to put out the fire.
Fire, fire, burn on. Fire, 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 burn on. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
So it's time to put out the fire here. And I will go first only because I
don't want somebody steal it.
Well, I don't think nobody's gonna steal this one. I think the only person that will steal it is Larry. It's wrestling related. So let me go ahead and put out this fire real quick. Look, I gotta say what I gotta say here. I was highly disappointed in NXT for a hot minute, because last week on the show, my put out the fire was make sure Joe Hendry comes to NXT. I say it was just, hey, I needed to make sure it happens. So it happens, right? And now this, ever since he made his appearance on NXT, he comes out there and he's in the 25-man battle royal to see who's going to go to the who's going to be facing Trick Williams for the NXT championship. And they kicked my man out the ring first. I was heated. I didn't even get to see my man in action. Now, I did get to see one of the biggest pops that NXT has ever had. And it was loud in there. They were singing his song. They were chanting. And he's just one of those wrestlers that's infectious. Like, he comes out there, he's smiling. His gimmick is fun. He's making fun of people, but it's just a really fun gimmick. So I was really hoping that I was going to get to see my man in action. But as he told Shawn Michaels, as he left and went in the back, he's like, you just say my name and I'll appear, and it could be on any show. So I'm ready for greatness from Joe Hendry because I believe in Joe Hendry. Larry, I'm telling you, that's my dude. I just needed to take care of Joe Hendry and make sure my man take it to the top. But we'll see about that. Who wants to go next on Put Out the Fire?
Yeah.
Larry's in there. Let's go, Larry.
So shout out to my man Rob Johnson. We do the show on Sunday nights at 8:30, 9:30. When he pointed this out earlier about Enrique Ogbowale, the guard out from the Dallas Wings. So today they took a loss to the Chicago Sky. She scored 31 points, with 7 for 16 from 3. The Dallas Wings have won 3 games.
What?
Get her the hell out of and hey, just like Rob said, get her the hell out of Dallas before like her prime just runs out. And me and Rob, we talk all the time. So I've mentioned her before. Hey man, you got to put her in a better position than what they are now. She's just wasting time right there in Dallas right now. 3 wins.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
hey, look, the Mystics only have 2. And they just got their 2 wins, so it just happened like a couple of days. They won back-to-back games. They lost the first 12, and then finally. But I will say this, and I might get in trouble for this, but Dallas, they may only have 3 wins, but they got probably 3 of the baddest women I've ever seen. And forgive me, my wife. They are beautiful. Like, it is insane. One girl, she like 6'6", and I'm over here like, and names are escaping me at the moment. But I was looking on, because the social media could be the devil's armpit at sometimes. And I'm sitting out there looking, I'm like, whoa, she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. Oh my God. I wouldn't even want to go to a Dallas Wings game. They do play the Mystics this weekend, by the way. I'm not going to make that leap. But I'm just saying, bad. That's all.
Did you make sure when you were looking at some of them things that you were actually on your account, not the?
Yeah. I was solid this time. That was on my Facebook page, so we good.
Okay. Sometimes he messes up on Instagram when we start following some really interesting people. It's like, what?
It's too many. It's too many accounts. It's too many accounts. Just don't post that. Next one. Jay, you want to go next?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jay.
All right, Jay, you go next, brother. Go ahead, put out the fire.
Deion Sanders, you put on a good show for everything, and I'm glad that you want the best for your boys, because the only man that wants to see you do better than they ever did is a father. But you cannot use your role as a head coach to teach young men to follow you, because making them go to some damn rap concert, mandatory that they had to go, because to help your son's DJing career, you should be fired right now. Sorry.
Wait a minute. Is that what he did?
Yeah. He made
crazy.
them go to Lil Wayne concert.
Uh-huh.
That was mandatory for the football players to go to the Lil Wayne concert because Shadora was rapping.
What a mandatory thing happened. That's intriguing. The one Colorado game I went to this year, Lil Wayne was actually there and he performed.
I think like 11 Colorado or Buffaloes entered the transfer portal right after that day. I don't blame them.
I'm like, here's the thing, man. It's been touch and go. They were winning in the beginning. Everybody was like, yeah. And so it's been kind of rocky since that time frame. They brought in Warren Sapp, so we'll see how much of the difference. This year is going to be big for Deion, because even though I think that Deion I think he can be a really good coach, but I don't think he can be the real coach he needs to be until both sons are off of that team. I will give you that. I mean, his sons are great, but he's thinking so much on the front of I got to. He's trying to take care of his boys. The same thing any good father would do. If they boys, girls, whatever it is, they're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna take care of the bit. I understand that, but with that being said, though, you're like, I don't think he'll be the coach he truly needs to be until they're gone. Like he has to be able to focus on just the game and like not
on coaching.
And, right, and not try to get his boys. Look, I understand it. He wants Shedeur to be, top 5 pick next year in the draft. But like I said, it's just one of those things. Then he said already, I'm not just letting him go to anywhere. He can only go to these places, that type of thing. And it starts a bad precedent. We know it's happened in the past, but not every player can do that. So it makes me kind of worried. But that's my personal opinion. I do agree. Like I think he has to get. Once the boys are gone completely,
he's got to separate it somehow.
Yeah. And I mean, his daughters, he's not going to go coach the girls' basketball team. And I think she left, and he was mad because his daughter left and hit the transport portal to leave, from being, and I don't want to be in your dad's shadow. I understand it. James, we head to you, sir. It's time for you to put out the fire.
All right. I'll go back to the Chicago Bulls situation. Again, they traded Alex Caruso today for Josh Giddey. Looks like still was straight up at this point. I don't know if we're getting that pick. I don't know how the hell you make a trade with Oklahoma City Thunder and don't get a pick, seeing as how they got like 42 of them. So, I feel like at this point, if you are Chicago, again, pick a direction. Either you're going to tank it and rebuild this roster up around a lot of your young talent, or you're going to try to do what you did the last few years, put a makeshift roster together that you hope is good enough to get through a weak Eastern Conference to compete for either a play-in or a back half spot in the playoffs, and then you're one and done. And then you end up in the middle of the first round in mediocrity because you don't get a lottery ball to fall your way and get a top 5 or top pick in the NBA draft. Like what, this year we beat the Hawks in playing game number 1 just to go out and get obliterated by the Heat and play in game number 2.
Y'all should have
come to find out if we'd have lost like the Hawks did in that playing game, well, our ping pong ball would have probably been the Hawks ping pong ball, and then we'd have a number 1 overall pick. Oh. Now, who the hell we take, I have no idea at this point. No one knows. This is the NBA draft nowadays. But if you're the Chicago Bulls, pick a direction, pick where you want to go. Either blow it up and start over, or continue to go down the hole of mediocrity. When was the last time they honestly blew it all up? I mean, what? I can't remember the last time they
Derrick Rose
poured down to the studs. I mean, hey, that was honestly a good take. I mean, the last time, if that's the outcome where you get a Derrick Rose, I'm all in for that. Now, when you're up 12 in the playoffs, sit him. When you're up 12 in the playoffs with 2 minutes or more or less, just sit him on the bench, ride it out, win the series. But for the love of God, pick a direction at this point. I'm tired of the mediocrity. I'm tired of seeing bad Chicago Bulls basketball.
Yeah, it's tough because we've seen in our childhoods we saw so much great Chicago Bulls basketball, and even in the mid 2000s, mid 2000 era when
they were at least exciting.
Yeah, they were at least interesting, and they made a couple of Eastern Conference Finals. So it's like okay, so and since then, like you said, it's been a little bit of a rough go, but I mean it's Chicago. Like you would think people would want to go play in Chicago. But it hasn't been the case.
Flashbacks of Joakim Noah.
Oh, Joakim Noah. Gotta love old Joakim Noah.
I take him now, honestly. I think
how long Joakim Noah been out the league? 5 years? He's like, look, Joe, come back, man. Look, whatever it takes.
If he could come back and play like how he did for Chicago, I think that'd be an upgrade over what we currently got on the roster at the center position.
That's tough.
But,
that's tough for sure.
It's some rough days ahead, bro. It's some rough days.
Great years of being position with losing in the same fashion that you lost in the last year. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a little rough. All right, everybody, that is it. Episode 71 is in the books here. We're very excited to be able to bring you episode 71, and I guess next week, first week of July, we'll start to do. Well, no, we're gonna do it next week. We'll start to do our NFL divisional in the main flame, we'll do our NFL divisional picks and kind of go from there. Only because we want to get that thing started now. Before you know it, it'll be time for ACC Media Day, and then we'll get into all this other stuff, and there'll be a lot going on. So we want to try to start getting those going for you, and so we'll start doing that next week. But before we go, James, is there anything you want to say?
Hey, man, glad to be back. Glad to have Jay and Larry on with us today. Shout out to everybody out there tuned in and watching. And as always, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out all the great stuff we got here at the Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Jay, anything you want to say, brother, before we get out of here?
No, it's weird to be back on this little tiny box again, but very, 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 very blessed. So, love your people. Look forward to tomorrow.
Larry, anything you want to say before we go?
Other than, man, I appreciate the opportunity of bringing me on once again. James and Jay. Follow me at Gametime Network. I do have some very special stuff coming up, especially dealing with high school football coming up, man. It's not going to say too much, though.
There you go. That means you got to tune in, y'all. You got to go tune in to find out the greatness Larry got up his sleeve. I will say before we get out of here, shout out to all our shows, Monster Minutes with the amazing Becca Cottingham. You know, Cottingham Quimby. Let me make sure let me not get beat up. BCQ. So make sure y'all check out Becca doing her thing on Monster Minutes weekly here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Of course, Rob Johnson on Sundays and Larry killing it with the Rob Johnson Sports Show. And then on this Sunday, 101 will return as we got Marcus Harper II for the offensive lineman for the Oregon Ducks. He will be joining me for 101 to start season 5 and get that bad boy going. Once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. It has been a fun one here. Legacy on Fire, episode 71. We'll see you all back next week for episode 72. Until next time.